hadirin. Alhamdulillah kita bisa menyelenggarakan kembali Talks, Todai Talks dengan menghadirkan Ruli Prasetya dari jurusan Ekonomi Public Policy di University of Tokyo dengan tema National Innovation System and Developmental Model Insight for Indonesia. Dan seperti biasa kita juga menghadirkan acara ini secara online lewat webinar. Insya Allah linknya sudah kami display di Facebook, jadi sebarkan link ini ke teman-teman Anda biar manfaat dari kuliah ini bisa didapat oleh sebanyak orang. Itu tanpa berlama-lama, mari kita hadirkan saudara kita Ruli Prasetya untuk di depan sini untuk menyampaikan materinya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So this afternoon, I will try to use English. So probably the audience can be wider and bigger. And so maybe in the next 15 minutes, I will try to talk about the National Innovation System and Developmental Stakeholder. So my name is Ruli. I'm doing double degree program. So last year I studied in NUS in Singapore. And this is my second year, and hopefully in 1 week I'll go back to Indonesia. So a lot of people are talking about Indonesia, and one of them, like Nurul Rubini, maybe you've heard about him. He said goodbye Indonesia, goodbye China, hello Indonesia. And then Foreign Policy magazine said the Indonesian tiger is one of the stories that people usually miss in 2010. And then McKinsey report said Indonesia will be the 7th largest economy in the world by 2013, which is around 15 years from now. So in the next maybe 20 minutes or 15 minutes, I divide my presentation to 5 parts. Basic introductions, and then I'll move to two concepts actually two concepts that I studied. First one is National Innovation System, and then Developmental State Model. And then we will try to see is there any kind of insight that is relevant for Indonesia. And then we will conclude. So now let's move to the first part, the introductions. So present versus the future. Today Indonesia is the 16th largest economy in the world. That's why we are part of G20 country. And then there are around 15 million skilled workers in Indonesia. But McKinsey predicted that in 2030, 15 years from now, we will be kind of the 7th largest economy in the world. And actually not only McKinsey who said about this, but also a lot of banks and a lot of international institutions who talk about this. So, and if we want to kind of think, is it kind of really possible that Indonesia will, achieve this very high growth and big GDP? So this is the GDP per capita, which means like kind of the annual income of Indonesian. And actually, yes, we see that the trend is kind of increasing over time, except in the 1997. Actually, in the crisis 1997-98, actually the effect was kind of 6 years. So in 2002, 6 years after the crisis, our income level was still the same. But the growth from, if we take from 80, it's around 6.5%, which is very, very high, quite high. And if we just look from President Widodo term, 2004, actually it's around 7%, which is one of the highest in the world. But when we compare it with other countries, actually Indonesia start with higher GNI or gross national income per capita, higher than China and India actually in 1980, but was surpassed by China in 1999. So this blue line is Indonesia, this one is India. So China is this red line. So actually Indonesia start with higher GDP per capita, but in the 1999 here, China start to surpass Indonesia. And also between Malaysia and Korea. Malaysia and Korea, they have the same GDP per capita in 1980, but then Korea kind of I don't know, like jump up very very quickly. So it seems that yes, we are run fast, but you know, other people, they run even faster. So that's why I try to, you know, in finding the road ahead, what should we do, and then by looking at two models of development. So basically, is that people predict that Indonesia will grow, but is it kind of possible, and then what we should do? So national innovation system. So I will look into two models. Maybe you've heard. Have you ever heard national innovation system? Yeah, sort of. Yeah, better. So well, all of you are engineer, computers, scientists. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about that. You know, this technology is very important. Like the differences in development mainly caused by different technological differences. So technology is kind of the driving force for growth and development. So that's why, because technology is very important, that's why we have to kind of focus on how to improve this technology. How to increase the innovation, which means to improve the rate of technological development, the innovation, and also diffusion, which means like how, for example, Office, for example, invent one programming language, for example, then how other people are using that language. So there are two main approach to this science, technology, innovation policy. There are traditional approach and system approach. So I'll focus on this system approach. Or if we apply it in national scale, it's going to be national innovation system. So in traditional approach to innovation, it kind of focus on the input. So you know, for example, when people talk about how to improve Indonesian innovation or Indonesian technological progress, people usually will focus on let's, for example, increase the number of researchers, or let's increase the wage of professors, or let's build more research centers, something like that. So it focuses more on input. So that's kind of the traditional approach of innovation. While the system approach, that's not only focus on the input, but also process. For example, how in the system approach, for example, how the interactions between various actors, for example, between one university and other university are, you know, are helping for the innovations. So it stresses that in doing the innovation, I mean, it's not only enough by focusing on, you know, improving this input side, but also we have to consider other factors: economic, social, political, and organizational. So, for example, in Japan, about Japan, yes, Japan was kind of advantage. I mean, it has advantage because it is a latecomer. So, I mean, because Japan is latecomer, so it can, you know, it see, for example, when Japan started to develop in 1880, for example, Japan can see what are the technology that is accessed in the market, and then Japan try to, you know, catch up with this technology. So, because it is a latecomer, it has kind of advantage because it can focus its resources to catch up with other. But also a lot of government policies. And a good thing of Japan is that there is this willingness of private sector to respond to the opportunities. I mean, since we are in Japan, we know that Honda or all of these companies, Hitachi, they kind of, all of them former samurai, right? I mean, so, and then they study in the US and the UK, and then, you know, they see this technological advancement, and then they're willing to take risks and respond to this opportunity to be an entrepreneur. And also this management system. And a good basic education system. So actually, when Japan opened up in 1886, before this Meiji Restoration, actually they kind of already a good education system. I mean, where a lot of people are educated. I mean, very different with Indonesia actually. I mean, when we get our independence in 1945, like not many people educated. But Japan in this era, they are very educated. So what are the policy? They import advanced technology and also promote this domestic technology. This is one example of this systemic approach to innovation. For example, there is this well-known professor in Todai, Fujishima and Hashimoto Sensei. I think it's a chemical department. So they kind of developed this titanium dioxide, photocatalyst. So they're doing, their approach is that there is this collaboration between university and also firm. So for example, Toto, a company, usually when we go to toilet, we find Toto. So Toto collaborate with these two professors, and from the joint collaboration, they have 37 patent application, and then a lot of commercial product from their collaboration actually. For example, antibacterial tiles. So the tiles are kind of antibacterial, and also self-cleaning tile because of the nature of, or the characteristic of this titanium dioxide itself. And other company like Mitsubishi, Seiwa Industry, Mitsu Mining, they are doing this kind of collaboration with these two professors. And by the way, actually, these two professors, they have kind of 100, close to 200 patents already in this field. And if we look to other countries, this is kind of something very unique to Japan, because in Japan, in the university, I mean, the professor in their laboratory, kind of sometimes from firms or from government agency, they're also doing this collaboration, which is something very unique for Japan national innovation system. So actually there is this content actually based on one book, and they're comparing national innovation system in several countries. And actually they found, the book is in 1993. So actually first one they stress that it is based on market economy. Maybe because 1993 is kind of, there is a debate between capitalism and socialism. So they stress that actually this successful country, they're doing this market economy. I mean, it's not government heavily regulated industry. And then in this country, actually 15 countries like Japan, US, Germany, Italy, France, and then Switzerland, some small country. So the bulk of education, such as universities, is usually provided by public institutions. And then we will see that actually this is not the case for Indonesia later. And then government have major responsibility for funding this basic research, while the industry usually are doing this applied research. And then national innovation system shaped by several factors, kind of size and resource endowment, but also kind of industrial policy from the government. So there are some kind of three key points from this national innovation system concept. First one is the firm is the kind of the firm in a country who has this good national innovation system. They're kind of highly competent in the industry that they're in, and also actually it's not enough to only have a good government. I mean, a good government laboratory or a university, but actually the technological progress should be done mostly by the firms. I mean, they have to do research. And then responsiveness of a university to training needs of industry, which means university should be able to supply trained students, trained workers. And also very important from the government side is this fiscal, monetary, and trade policy. In Japan, for example, there are a lot of policy, special policy from the government.